Hello everyone, and welcome to round 6 of the all Schumi My Team career mode. And this is a special one then. It's Monaco, it's Monte Carlo, it's the jewel in the crown of the F1 calendar. And as you can see, it's raining. We have got a wet race around Monaco. Not that Monaco is ever simple to begin with, but this one is going to be, well, difficult, shall we say, especially as our car performance isn't quite up there with the Mercedes just yet. Let's see what happened then between the last race and now. So first up, we've got a chassis equipment upgrade, which just helps the morale of the chassis department. That's just something I did in between the events. General durability, I think that's a Honda upgrade. It's not something I did. Chassis team building, again, helps the chassis team. Got a upgrade to the aerodynamic department, so we can now do 2 upgrades at once. A little bit of reaction training for our teammate, Mick Schumacher. And then just a few other normal weekly things of updates. I've had a nice big update. You didn't see it there, as I believe the update was finished during the last weekend, but we have had a major weight reduction upgrade, which is why there you can see our line is quite steep, and unfortunately Haas have had a similar sort of update, so we're a similar sort of performance away from them, but we are really closing in on the cars ahead. Look at that. Both McLaren and Renault haven't had any updates. Alfa Romeo's only had a small update, so has AlphaTauri, and so has Racing Point, so really close. But this is the big story of this race for me, is our reliability is not good. You see, we're now applying the engine that we're going to use for quali in the race, but the actual engine components aren't too bad, but we have got a very used engine store. And then this is the gearbox. Now, this is the critical one because our gearbox is 82% worn and we're 83% of the way through the races for it. So our gearbox is really critical. We just got to hope for the best and hope that it lasts because it's so marginal. But I didn't want to take a penalty. We're at Monaco. This is not where we could take a penalty. But anyway, this is quali then. See in the top left, I've already managed to set a time for P16 just ahead of our teammate, but I've not been happy with that lap. There was a couple of little mistakes, so we're now going to absolutely send it. We've set a decent enough banker lap, so we're really now just going to push hard. Brand new option, soft tyres. Option, that's a few years old, isn't it? Brand new soft tyres, and really going for it. We're almost a 10th up in the first sector. Pretty good. Not perfect, but good enough. A little bit deep into that corner. Wasn't too bad. We've been struggling through this really tight hairpin all weekend. Never quite been able to get it around there with good speed, but we've done it well there. Gained a 10th on our best, so really nice. A little bit wide there, but not too bad. You can sort of wall of death around that corner a little bit as long as you can get on the power nice and early, which I managed to do. So we did lose a little bit of time there, but we're still a 10th up. Still looking good. We've got a McLaren directly behind us, but luckily it's a Red Bull ahead of us, so he shouldn't be holding us up. Getting a breakdown really late there, and we're over a 10th up, so we had a nice exit there. We're a 10th and a half up, absolutely sending it through there, just skimming both barriers, 2.5 tenths up, almost 3 tenths up, and this one really pushing it, just absolutely flying it through, but threading it between the barriers and getting it also down this way. I made quite a big mistake on the previous lap, which puts us 7 tenths up on our previous. Just got one more corner to go. DRS is wide open, full throttle for the run to the line. We're going to be 7.5 tenths up on our previous. Really nice quality lap there in the end. We really just sent it on that final lap and it paid off. And P9, we've qualified in the top 10. This is the first time that our reborn Benetton team has qualified in the top 10. And that is, of course, the first time also that we're going to have to start on the tyres we qualified on, but not going to complain around Monaco. And as usual in this My Team career mode, they are 2x2 at the front. We've got the Mercedes, Red Bulls, then the Ferraris. Then it all gets a bit closer. And we're actually only a 10th off best of the rest. We were just a 10th of a second off, being P7 and best of the rest. That would have been an unreal result. Looking for my teammate, unfortunately, he is a long way down, back down to P20. So not a great qualifying for Mick Schumacher. We are now starting to train him up a little bit, so hopefully his performances will be a bit closer. But don't forget, he out-qualified us in the previous 2 rounds. So the AI difficulty level was set about right, but he just had a bit of a bad quality there in Monaco. You can see that forecast is for it to rain the entire race, and it looks like heavy rain, but we're starting in the intermediates. It reckons take the intermediates to about halfway through the race, where they should be about half worn, and then take the a pit stop and then go to the end of the race. So we'll see. But on the start now, then we've got 5 lights. And they're out. I'm trying to get a nice start, trying to minimise wheel spin. Easier said than done in the wet, that's for sure. Got Carlos Sainz just up ahead. Can we see up the inside of him? He's going to block the inside. We're going to try and send it anyway. Diving up the inside. They're going to also down, not cutting the corner. And nice move in the end there. That was pretty marginal, but we got it done. We wanted to just dive ahead as best we could because we know that you can't really overtake at Monaco. So we're now up to P7, best of the rest, where we knew we could have almost qualified. And we have actually, according to quality, at least got the pace to stay here. So let's see. We've got Ferraris up ahead. They're battling lots of oversteer. Just trying to control this car in the wet conditions around Monaco. And 2 Ferraris are still side by side. We'll see if we can get past them, but I don't think there's going to be any room through the hairpin. We think about going 3 wide around the outside, but we know that that is a gap that's going to close, almost stopping through the hairpin. Really slow as they're still side by side. There's a yellow flag somewhere, which actually turns into a VSC. So a VSC now then. So we're going to have to stick to our delta time. And the Ferraris up ahead going really slow, trying to sort each other out. Come on, Vettel, let Charles pass. We're in VSC now. And there we go. VSC is now ending. So we're going to try and go on the outside of Vettel, but that's not going to work. We're going to back out of that. We're almost a second down on what we could be, which is why I'm trying to go on the outside of there. The Ferrari guys are really slow for some reason under the Delta, but we're up and running now. And going to lean. And I should mention as well, we did start the race under fuel by about half a lap, which I don't normally do, but we thought Monaco in the wet, we're probably not going to need any fuel. And actually that's paying off dividends at the moment. We're already quite a bit of way up, and also our engineer has said to try and use as much of the battery as we can, because the more charged the battery is, the more damage it becomes. And as it is quite damaged now, this will be the last race that this energy store sees, energy store being the battery of course. He was basically saying, well, there is a real danger of it completely failing, and obviously we don't want that. As much as you can get through Monaco without an energy store, I don't know how else it will affect the car, so we don't want that. And he basically said, well, you need to use the battery as much as possible. So throughout this race, we will try and use the overtake button as much as possible down all of the strokes we possibly can. So we're going to be using it here into the tunnel once we get up to speed. There we go. But you see here, lots of oversteer. So we need to be a bit careful where we do use it, because even when you think it's going to be nice and easy full throttle, it's not necessarily the case. So we need to be a bit careful, but we also need to use it as much as possible so we don't have a failure on the battery, because the battery and the gearbox are two components that are really worn out. This is the last race they'll see, but the reason I left the energy store in is because basically I figured that we wouldn't really need all of it, and this would be the race that we could get away with having a less capacity. You can see there's a sort of hashed mark on the battery down the bottom right, just below where it says medium. That is the unusable part of the battery, so that we can't use the last 30% or so of the battery because it is so worn. But anyway then, we managed to sort of stick to the Ferraris, and actually we lost a gear. We've lost a gear there. We've lost fifth gear, which is not what we need around Monaco, but actually it could be worse. Something like third gear would probably be the worst one to lose around Monaco. Fifth gear isn't too bad. We can sort of drive around that, but it does need driving around. It's not easy. We need to adapt to that now. We've got Carlos Sainz for close company, just a second behind us. But actually, we haven't got too much of a train behind us at the moment, so our pace is reasonable. We have sort of been sticking to the Ferraris. You can see me visually slowed down 4/10 off in that sector, just trying to adapt to having less gears. Normally it does fix itself after a couple of laps or so, but that doesn't happen us right now. We need to just get through this without a fifth gear and hope that we can make it work. Not going to be easy, but we'll see. Down to lean, we've already gained our whole half lap back of fuel, so we actually probably could have done, joking on that, probably a few laps less under-fueled. So, but anyway, that doesn't matter for now. You see us using the energy store, bit of oversteer once again, down to 30% charge. Now that will reduce our likelihood of getting a failure, up to 40% already on the brakes though. But again, just trying to adapt to this, having this missing fifth gear. You see, up to sixth, straight away from fourth, down to four. Oh, actually hit the wall there. Actually hit the wall, because normally that'd be a fifth gear corner, and I'm still adapting to it. Actually ended up hitting the wall. Going down to fourth gear, it locked the rears a little bit. Then we ended up hitting the wall. Almost a little touch of the wall again. Luckily, these are quite square taps on the wall, so it's not affecting us too much. Won't have any issues now without having fifth gear. You don't go up to fifth anywhere near that in these couple of corners, down to second, in fact. And we'll only have the issue as we come across the straight. But to be honest, we've adapted well enough. We are certainly slower than we were, but Sainz is not really even close to us. We were 1.8 down on our previous lap. So really are struggling, but Sainz is still not able to make the move on us. And yeah, it's looking okay. So we're now going to skip ahead all the way to lap 16, just to have a little check-in here on what's happening. And you can see we've still got Sainz for close company. Vettel's now 17 seconds up the road, but look on the right-hand side, our tyres are really worn. We want to try and get these to 19 laps, but they're already 75% worn. And I can tell you, having looked at the game files of this game, there's a risk of puncture above 75%. We're on 74% on our left rear at the moment, so we've used too much of the loud pedal, as I'm sure Martin Brundle would say, and unfortunately too much wheel spin, and we just worn the tyres, the rear tyres, too much. So we've stretched out to lap 16, and we'll see if we come in the end of this lap, but that is not good news for our tyres, because like I said, we've got a real risk of a puncture. See, my engineer's trying to tell him to come in this lap. He's saying there's a change of strategy available. I assume that's him telling, yeah, well, lap 15, so we actually wanted us to come in last lap. We are going to come in this lap then, lap 16 of this race, much earlier than planned. But it's not ideal because it's it's a lot before half time. That'll do. It's not worded very well, but lap 16 of lap 39. We wanted to come to lap 19, which is one lap or half a lap before halfway distance. But we're thinking, well, it's not worth risking a puncture now because we could easily get a puncture at any point. So we're going to come in this lap and we're going to just try and really conserve our rear tyres to the end of this race and try and make them last. And be certainly over 75%. But anyway, coming on the pit exit now, we've got Sergio Perez on our outside, very close, get it also down nicely. Don't want to be crossing that line. Can we get past him? No, he's just flown past us there, Sergio. So unfortunately, we were not able to really get anywhere near having the overtake on him. A little touch on the wall there, but we'll get away with that. And that's unfortunate because don't forget, we had guys with close company. Although we have got brand new tyres, we need to be quicker than them, or at least the same pace as them, otherwise they are going to get us with the overcut. So we need to push now. Skip ahead to lap 18, and we're very close company there with Sergio Perez almost hitting him, almost pushing him through the corner. We are definitely quick. We need to get through him as quickly as possible, get past him, because as I said, we are still racing the guys that we were racing before that are directly behind us, and we've got George Russell just ahead, who's in a Williams, who isn't going to be the fastest. So we need to try and get through these guys as quickly as possible. We've already been behind them for a lap. Sergio Perez is going to try and dive from inside here, just avoid the barrier, get it all slowed down to first gear, leaving a bit of room on the outside, but that was a bit of a dive bomb, but we made it stick. And we've got George Russell up next. Again, we need to get past these guys as quickly as possible. We know that the guys behind us will probably be coming in on either lap 19 or lap 20. We're on lap 19 right now, so the end of this lap, there will be some of those guys coming in. We need to get past George Russell as soon as possible to make sure they don't overtake us. We were best of the rest. We were doing a good job of defending, but us having to pit a little bit earlier could cost us here, as they could get the overcut on us if they're able to go faster. They've got much more worn tyres than us, of course, but we're currently being held up on George Russell with very worn tyres, so that's not helping us. We're not close enough to make a dive into here, unfortunately. And you see we are still 6,000s up on our previous best, so it's not too bad. George Russell isn't going too slowly, but we can certainly go quicker and have a look at the inside and give us a bit of room. So we're going to go up his inside there through the hairpin. That is not normally an overtaking opportunity on anything but lap 1, but we just had to go for it. We just really had to go for it. A bit cheeky. There's a bit of contact going for that corner, but we knew it was really critical to get past in this lap, so we just absolutely went for it, going up to overtake ERS rich fuel, then using as much fuel as we can, as we are going to be heavily over fuel, but I don't want to go to anything other than lean from the corner exits, as we are desperately trying to save our rear tyres. We did a bad job of it on the first stint, so we need to do an even better job of it this stint. You see me there getting much less wheel spin on that exit there, so it was working really nicely at the moment, but we'll see if we can save it enough to go to the end. We're 3/10 up on our previous best then, so it's been a good middle sector. We need to keep that up into the final setting. See on the minimap, they're all into the pit lane now. It looks like there's a Renault that's come out, potentially in the lead of the pack of the people in the pit lane. I'm not too sure at the moment. Looks like we should be able to get past most of them, but how many will be able to get past? Will it be all of them or not? There's a Renault on the pit exit. There's a Renault there. It's Daniel Ricciardo. Will he be able to get past us? We're going to fly past him into the first turn. He's going to be able to take this shortcut on the inside. He's trying to have a nice clean exit to get past him. We just managed to do it. Just about managed to stay ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. The only other driver that's ahead of us now, other than the top 6 cars, is Lando Norris, and he's only 5.5 seconds ahead, so he will almost certainly have to pit again. So not too worried about him. We have managed to maintain our best of the rest position in what will become 7th position, which is really nice. So having a little check-in now then. You can see it's still raining heavily, not any different on the tyres, but see on the right hand side we're on lap 29 now. We're on these tyres about 13 laps, doing a much better job of the rear tyres. And a little check in with the gearbox as well. 88% worn on the gearbox, 81% worn on the energy store. The rest is totally fine. In fact, we've got a brand new control electronics for this race, but the rest is totally fine around Monaco. Around 50% wear, you don't really suffer any ill effects. But anyway, look at this, lap 35. We've still got 5 laps or so to go, and we are now 76% worn on the left rear tyre once again. That is not ideal. So we're now at real risk of having a puncture. You see, my engineer even wanted me to come into the pit there. He was saying, pit this lap, dude. We're going to get a puncture if you carry on, but we're not doing that. If we pit at Monaco, we'll be well outside the points. We're currently in P7. It's worth risking it. Let's stay out. So we're now jump all the way ahead to lap 38 of 39. And we are now going to be unedited. We're going to be uninterrupted until the end. And you see at the bottom right, 85% tyre wear, 85%. We're at serious risk of a puncture now. We just need to just pray that these tyres make it to the end. I've slowed down so much. I'm being so careful with the rears. I'm thinking maybe if I overheat them a bit too much, maybe with their wear condition, they will just puncture. Or maybe if I just get too much wheel spin, I'll just sort of, you know, cause too much friction and that will cause a puncture. So I'm just being so careful with the rears. But I also need to keep the positions, of course. There's no point us getting to the end if we're going to end up outside of the points. We want this P7. This is best of the rest. This is an unreal performance. This car is not quick enough to be best of the rest, but we're doing it at the moment. 86% tyre on the rear left. The rear right's also 79%. So both are above 75%, which is the point where you start to risk punctures. This is close. And of course, you know, not to mention that these tyres are also cooked. You know, they're completely gone. We've got no grip really at all, but we're not even really worried about that. We know that we should have enough pace to keep ahead of the cars behind, because you can't really get anywhere near to overtaking it at Monaco. So it's quite a fortunate track for us. We have got a bit of a train behind us now, but we're not going to worry about that. 88% now as we're coming towards the final lap of this race. Come on, tyres, let's last. We're going past the pit exit now, so we are going to now cross the line with, well, not necessarily with a puncture, but we're going to cross the line regardless of what our tyre conditions are in. Much like Lewis Hamilton in Silverstone, maybe we'll end up crossing the line with a puncture, but let's wait and see. It's going to be very, very marginal indeed. We've got 5 laps of spare fuel, just half a second to the car behind. There's a bit of a train, but there's only 4 cars in the train, so it's not too bad. And unfortunately, I missed how slow that last lap was there in the top right, but these are not quick lap times, but it does not matter one bit. All that matters is we get to the end in P7. That's what we want. I mean, at least we want some points, don't we? If there's a puncture, doesn't matter. We just need to cross the line with some points. 89% worn now. Valtteri Bottas crosses the line to take the win, but we're still in just at the end of the first sector there. In the second sector now, almost 90% tyre wear. This is so critical. To be honest, I mean, I'm surprised I'm not having more oversteer moments, but I'm being so careful with my right foot. Really just crawling round. Look at the green bar on the bottom right. Just being so cautious, just slowly increasing it. Still not full throttle, still not full throttle. Now we're finally full throttle. Halfway through 5th gear, we're waiting to go full throttle, but we're doing okay. We're still 3/10 ahead of Ricciardo. Will this left rear tyre rupture, or will it remain till the end? If it remains, we're pretty confident we'll be able to keep P7. 91% wear now. Really bad. Come on, we want these points. Best of the rest in Monaco. Come on, let's do it. Please, 91%. Just praying that it stays until the end. Is it going to go up again to 92? Above 90% now. This must be so close to a puncture. Ricciardo's just half a second behind still, but we're not worried about him. We think once we're out this final corner, we'll be okay. Will it hold on? Please hold on. One more corner, one more exit. Just need one more traction zone. 92% now on the front left, or rear left rather, and we're going to have enough momentum now to get us to the line. You see there, a little bit of wiggle of the wheel, and that was a bit of a celebration. P7, best of the rest. Michael Schumacher in Monaco in the rain. Wow. I mean, the real Michael Schumacher, that's not too surprising, but I tell you what, with this car, our teammate was miles back, so we are absolutely taking a P7. Best of the rest. Another 6 points for the reborn Benetton team. Really, I can't believe that, to be honest. Those tyres were completely ruined at the end. They were absolutely destroyed, but we managed to do it. A minute and 5 seconds back from the leaders in the end. We were sort of holding our own against the Ferraris ahead until we really backed off because of the tyre wear. And then that's what it then does to the standings. We're now best of the rest in the standings as well, actually. In our reborn Benetton team, Michael Schumacher is now best of the rest. And unfortunately, our teammate Mick hasn't managed to score any points yet because I think we've been outperforming the car the last few races. So that puts us on 22 points now, ahead of Racing Point somehow. And we know their performance is really mega. You can see there, they are actually rated as the 4th best team. They've just not had good performances. And this then is the current performance, and this is how it will look for the next race, or rather the updates we're expecting next race. The next race will be Baku. So we've gone for a major drag reduction update, which should help us hugely. We've gone for a gearbox reliability update, as that was so critical at the end there. We got quite fortunate. I think the gearbox must have been, 95% worn, but luckily there was no other really issues with the gearbox. We were very, very fortunate. And we've got a small rear downforce update as well. So don't forget to subscribe if you're new for the next episode of that. And I thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.